person in Summer of Life.
Yes. When you do RSVP, by what time should you do that? That would be like nice.
If it's at least like the day before, because literally what happens is like that Thursday morning I open up Meetup, see how many people have RSVP'd, and I go to Sam's and pick up whatever food I can afford based on that.
Oh, then I've been signing up way late. Like 3 o'clock. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I can tell you from experience, you can't sign up after the event. I was like, oh man, I should do it just so they have the number. Oh, it doesn't matter.
What is the next game jam that we're going to be participating in?
So we've been talking about this. So for the last 3 years, it's just been Global Game Jam. I'm talking about putting one together locally. We've attempted to do sort of like offline, aka not in-person ones, where we're like at one meeting, we're like, okay, we're all going to try to work on something, and then next month show up and show you what you have, and like no one did anything. So we've got a couple ideas rattling around, including possibly doing one at AHA downtown, so the gallery downtown, the building with the rusty walls and the chalk all over it, in the Arts District, my favorite place.
Global Game Jam is every January. And
Yes.
That's a consistent thing every January we'll
Yeah,
do.
and it's that's actually run by like an organization that you actually have to get approval to set up a site and all of that. So as long as the TU student body keeps going for it, which is what I'm going to push for, it should keep happening. So. And then we're trying to hopefully get one during the summer. The goal for Tulsa Game Devs is to have at least one event every quarter, like one sort of largish event. So we have Global Game Jam, then there's CSGC, and then some kind of game jam in the summer, and then the summit in October, September-ish. Yeah.
Julian and I were talking about maybe hosting one over the summer at his bookstore.
That'd be great.
So if we decide to do that, we'll definitely let everybody know.
Yeah, and actually that's, Julian Durnier has actually extended sort of an open invitation in the Kendall Whittier district, Whitty Books.
Yeah.
It's a really cool little bookstore, but if he's basically said if you ever want to just not be at home and crack open your laptop and work on some game dev, and just kind of an open invitation. There's a coffee shop next door. Yeah.
So I've never been to one of these meetings before, and I've never been part of any development community. So I'm a little confused, or maybe I just don't quite understand. What exactly is the scope of the meetings? Are there agendas, and is it just working on these large projects? What happens at the typical meeting?
It kind of depends. A lot of times it depends on whatever I have the time to put together on a given month. But we try to lay out the agenda for any particular meeting within a week of the meeting actually taking place. But generally there's a speaker, or it's considered like a working night, where you just can show up and talk to the local game developers about whatever it is you're working on, maybe work through any problems you might be having. And then on the nights that we have a speaker, usually they'll speak for about an hour, something like that, and then the second half is usually people just start chatting for a little while. And as I said, we always have some food available. Usually it's enough for everyone. We've never really had a problem with that. But as far as like wide-ranging agendas, we don't really have one, other than to invite people to be part of the community and know that it's here. And it should be, I guess the agenda would be like creating a support network.
Yeah. You can be an indie developer, you don't have to be a lone developer is kind of the idea. Right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Are most of the people there hobbyists? Are there industry professionals there? Is it kind of a mix?
Usually the speakers are the industry professionals. And then there's only 2 studios here, and one of them I don't think makes games anymore. I think they focus just on commercial products, but they still use game engines in their products and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's worth discussing. Is that Tulsa's in this sort of chicken and egg kind of situation right now, and that most communities that have, or most cities or metros that have a large game development community, most of them have like at least one major studio that's serving as like the pillar for that community, and that's something that we kind of lack right now. Like even Oklahoma City has Goldfire Studios, which is run by James Simpson, who runs Oklahoma City Game Devs, and we've had him down to Tulsa a couple times too. So we're kind of trying to get to the point where we have some folks here who are actually releasing products on Steam. I mean, even if, or not necessarily even Steam, but actually shipping games, as it were. But we have a lot of people with a lot of knowledge, including TU students who are here, like going through the game design program. Like, don't start talking to Charles about game engines unless you want a long discussion.
What do you think of Unity?
Well, could I ask? Let me ask you a couple questions. Like, so what is your interest? What would you hope to get out of a group like this?
Pretty much just advice on getting into game development.
And how about yourself?
Like, what do you mean?
I'm sorry, the time the gentleman in front. Sorry.
You know, I'm not honestly sure. What I'm always interested in is just personal growth,
Yeah.
becoming more familiar with platforms. So I'm a web developer.
Okay. Yeah.
Started drilling into Unity as a hobby about a year ago, and really hit a lot of roadblocks. It's been just sort of self-learning. So I guess, you know, reaching out and getting some support and shared knowledge there would be fantastic. But that's pretty like self-focused. That doesn't really support the community at all. So I'm not really sure at my point what my value there would be in being able to support others. Is I'm very green on all of this.
Right. Well, and I think part of the reason we're working toward having more than one game jam in a year is that has a very powerful focusing effect. It's kind of crazy. Like myself, like I showed that silly little game that I was working on, but I mean that's from like a tutorial that I was following. So I'm not a programmer by any stretch, but you know I could maybe put together some music or maybe draw some pixel art. And usually what happens at these game jams is people kind of settle into different roles, even folks who've never done it before. And we encourage people who've never done it before to give it a try. Occasionally you'll get someone who like tries to come in and be like Shigeru Miyamoto and like I'm the brains behind the operation. Here's my game idea. Like every once in a while you get one of those, but usually what you get is just people who are trying to help. And like even if what you wind up doing is just being encouraging or like going on a snack run while other folks have their heads down. So I think that's one of the biggest things I've been trying to get through for people who are coming out, because I've heard a lot of people who are like, I just don't know what I'm adding to this group, or don't really know if I belong here. And what's interesting, if you go to any like major game development event, and I think you probably see it here too, like the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, is like any game devs are like super supportive of each other. It's kind of crazy. Like even if they're technically competitors, like they want to help each other out and help each other solve problems. It's happening a little more now in our Facebook group. I'd like to see it happen more where people, I can't figure out how to make my character do this, or like I have this weird bug and they'll post it on Facebook and maybe someone else can help out. Like right now I hear you saying that you're diving into Unity, and all I can think of is like introducing you to a guy named Caleb in our group who's kind of a whiz with Unity. He's always posting stuff that he makes by himself on a regular basis, like models and everything. So I know it seems like maybe our purpose is a little nebulous, but really what I'm wanting is to have just a place where everyone can come and know that they're welcome and kind of work together. And hopefully encourage like some people here who are students to start working on projects here and not move to California or North Carolina or Seattle.
Austin.
Or Austin, yeah. Austin has a really cool indie game community. You should go there.
Yeah. You should visit.
Yeah, it's called Juegos Rancheros, which is the best name I've ever heard. Has anyone? Yeah.
I did want to add to what you were saying. When I first started going to the meetups and stuff like that, I started going because I wanted to work on a project, and I was learning how to program and stuff on my own, which as I started doing it, it started becoming, okay, I think I need help, you know, and so I went and realized there was a lot I didn't know, but I went and the people there were really encouraging. The first year I went to the game jam, I did nothing but walk around and look and ask some questions when people were maybe snacking and not just knee deep in some code or something like that. And as I went, I was able to, like that year, it was cool because I got to see how one process fed into another. So I learned something there. Then the next year, it was, okay, do you think you can make a sprite for the prototype of our, okay.
So you're talking about the game jam right now?
Yeah, the game jam, but then in between I was going to the Tulsa Game Developers too. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? What I'm saying is just getting and not necessarily worrying about what you're contributing or not contributing, because your body being there helps contribute, because eventually you'll end up saying something that, okay, so like I was at one of the meetups, not the game jam, but one of the meetups where the guy was, I think it was a Tetris game that we were working, no, Pac-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a Coding
Yeah.
Dojo came in and hosted one of our meetings,
Yes.
yeah.
And so there was a point where like some piece of the code wasn't working, and I'm looking at it, and I looked and I see, and I was like, well, you know, maybe you might need to flip the equality symbol or something, and they did, and it was like, oh yeah, that, you know, and I don't really know that much about code, but just the fact that of going and sitting and being around, it's almost like if you have a piece of coal or something, if it's all by itself, it's going to go out by, you know, and if everybody's all by themselves, they're going to go out. But if you group together, you get to build a fire that is beneficial for all the coals.
And then you make hot dogs.
You know, so, but yeah.
You look like you want to say something.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking that, you know, it's just good to have a community to, you know, show people your game, bounce ideas around, and, you know, even if someone's not directly contributing, you know, they can give you feedback. And
Well, and to Life's point back here, you know, just like she said, she showed up at Global Game Jam. I don't know, how did you find out about it? Do you remember?
Somebody said something about, actually it was a friend of mine that was going up for meetup for like something else. I don't know if it was like log attraction or something, but like saw the meetups and they had different categories, and I was
Yeah.
like, well, let me type in computer and see what pops
Oh,
up.
okay.
Yeah, and these ones popped up, and I was like, cool.
So like she said, she was here for the first game jam, just kind of observing, and she was one of, like, she was like sleeping there. Like she was actually,
Oh, yeah.
she brought a sleeping bag and
Yeah.
everything for 2 days. And I can't remember, like a few months later or something at one of our meetups, like you made like a little gaming prototype from with Scratch,
Yeah.
MIT's visual scripting thing, and that was really cool. So if nothing else, then like yourself, like you're going through like a personal journey and like trying to, God, I hate that word journey, I'm sorry. Like you're going through your personal endeavors, trying to create something and having other people who care about it, like so that you're excited to go off and like make your own prototype and learn like a different programming language. So that's kind of what we're after. I'm curious about this group. Are you guys TU students back here who came in?
Tax students.
What's that?
Tax. You had Mayfield's class?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
He comes to meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he does. Do you guys are you showing anything here at CSGC?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
Yeah.
I developed a game back in 2001. It's a board game.
Uh-huh.
And about 2007, I started computerizing it. And would an organization like this be a good place for me to find an app programmer that will help me convert it to an app? That's what I've been trying to do.
There's some potential there. If nothing else, you might meet someone who can help you connect you with someone. Another potential is, so I'm not sure if you were here for this part of the talk, but there is a group in Oklahoma called Techlahoma, and it's a wide network of people who basically do nothing but develop software in one way or another. And they're always looking for work. I know that.
Is there a list of the groups?
Yes, there is.
There. Yeah, so we're part of this, but like you said, you do web development. They have Tulsa Web Dev. Are you in Tulsa?
No.
Okay, not helpful. But we have Tulsa Web Devs, but where are you from?
Well,
Oklahoma.
I didn't know how specific you want. I'm from Sandy Springs, so.
Oh, so
that's-
whatever.
That's close enough.
Yeah, it's downtown, so it's right past
Exactly.
75.
Yeah.
So you're good. But yeah, we have Tulsa Web Devs, and then
OKC groups, Tulsa JavaScript. We don't have Python here, though.
no.
Let's see. These are They're all OKC. Where's the
There's
Tulsa?
Chico, Tulsa.
Agile practitioners.
Agile's usually the same day we do though, so
That's true.
if you're into Agile, it's really good though. I haven't heard, like all the people in it are like, we like Agile, so we go to the group, it's really good.
Tulsa Web Devs is by far the largest group.
Mhm.
In fact, half of them, like basically when they come together as a group, they're all part of other different groups too, and they just have to start their meeting, and then they just kind of break off into different groups, and they kind of take up the whole of 36 Degrees North on the nights when they meet.
Well,
But so what's your name, sir?
Earl Evans.
Earl Evans.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess the short answer is I think if not from our group necessarily, but I think we could probably help.
Well,
connect you with
I'll
someone.
have an exhibit tomorrow.
Oh, great.
I'm trying to find one. This game is, if I get it on the market, it'll be a competitive game with chess.
Oh, cool.
is Eric Lee gonna be there? I don't know.
I don't know.
He's making
Chess game.
yeah, Chess Fight, which is technically it's called Chess Fight is a game he's working on, but it's a physical game.
Yeah, he's
Gotcha.
Chess Fight. Yeah, it's so we one of our members he
Full contact chess.
well it's a few years ago because he's like really talented in sculpting 3D models, 3D computer models, and he does it in virtual reality. And we actually had him at one of our meetings doing it, and it's kind of insane to watch him work. But one day he like made a chess piece in virtual reality, and then he 3D printed it, and I guess a light bulb went off somewhere, and now it's on Instagram. I started playing.
Chess fight.
Do you see it?
No.
Let's try one word. I think it's one word.
Yeah.
Chess fighting. Chess. Oh, there we go.
There.
Yeah.
It's the image.
Yeah, so you make these.
Well,
Yeah. So these are.
this game is not like chess, but it takes the same mindset to play it as you
Yeah.
do playing chess.
Well, this is annoying. But yeah, so these are some of the creations I made. Some of these I think are actually 3D printed, and some of them are still like this Cthulhu one is awesome. But he's 3D printing custom chess sets. Very, very cool.
Mine is three-dimensional instead of two-dimensional.
Yeah, I was thinking John Holland, but he hasn't been to meetings in a long time.
I don't want to say that on. I'm worried he passed away, and I only say that because like I've messaged him and called him, and he's never returned anything.
You know, maybe he left town.
Part of me he was kind of paranoid, so it made me think he like went off the grid. But I don't want to. That's what I say. I hope he went off the grid and found happiness.
Me too.
So it sounds like at the Tulsa Game Developer meeting, you have a good mix of developers, designers, animators, et cetera.
The one thing that we're somewhat short on is artists. Well, and I mean, I think we have 2 people with musical production backgrounds, and one of them, John, is like really good at it. But so right now we have a lot of programmers and music folks. We need more artists. I'll do dinky 2D art, but that's about it.
What do you mean by artist?
3D artists.
Okay.
There's
Right.
a lot of people that do 2D art, but
great.
they have, which is really helpful and all that. But we have a small amount of 3D artists.
We had a brilliant 3D artist, but then he went to Utah
Yeah.
to
With a
go to
full
get his
ride.
graduate degree.
Yeah. Random question. What are you guys over here? What are you wanting out of a group like this? What would draw you to be like, yeah, I want to be part of this? Just put you all on the spot.
Well, when you said art, I was like,
Right.
because I do like illustrations, but my 3D art skills is like.
Well, 2D art still, we lack in that. When we say we lack, we have 2 people that consistently come up with 2D art and then no 3D artists. So even if you say you have lacking 3D skills, then you're probably the best.
Mine has been off and on, but I've been trying to learn 3D animation, but I can never find time to because of school.
Well, I mean,
I saw you make something in like 5 minutes, dude. You're really pretty good. Don't sell yourself short.
Wait, what?
You're sitting next to me in the 3D paint.
Oh. Yeah, that was just something I already had in there.
We spoke to each other and everything.
It was really pretty good though. What you were doing, you did it fast and with the 3D paint.
Well, I mean, if you look at like what we've got on our YouTube channel, like it's a lot of developer talks more recently, and we've had a couple of things that are like short tutorials on how to make games using different tools.
Yeah.
We have 2 that Daniel did.
Yeah, I did. I had to do the art.
Art assets. If you've never played with a Piscal or a Magic of Voxel, they're both free and they're both awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry. We have some art students in the room. Voxel. Find the Twitter account's the best.
So that YouTube that.
Oh, go to the hashtag.
Yeah, where do you see that?
Right there.
Yeah. So this is a voxel painting tool. Oh, apparently you can animate now. I didn't know you could do that.
I think they use.
I mean, this one is. Look at that.
Yeah.
So it has like lighting and stuff.
Why is it selecting everything?
Is that made in Magic of Voxel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
For some reason,
If you click
there we
that,
go.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's totally free, and it's like Microsoft Paint but with voxels, and like it has all these insane shaders built in, and it's really cool. And then
How do you use that? Everything I made with Magic of Voxel looks like Minecraft, which is.
you have to apply like shaders and things
Yeah.
after.
I think they built like the walls and stuff. I think those bottles and stuff they built somewhere else, but
Yeah. They use the,
Yeah.
take them
Big
all
sheet
alive.
of-
yeah.
I mean, look at that.
See someone. It's voxel art, but you could zoom in close, but far away. It looks
Yeah.
It's like
That's
like
insane.
sort of like 3D modeling, but you're just building one
block at a
little pixel at a time.
Pixel art.
Oh.
3D. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's pixel art but 3D.
So it's kind of like Minecraft, but like.
Yes.
Right. If you were building up a Minecraft world, it would look something like that.
You can actually from that editor export right to Minecraft.
I swear I'm going to get through one meeting without showing people Piscal.
This would really help me with my previous one.
If you've never played with this one and you like pixel art, it's totally free on the browser. You can download it too, but like I will show people the Stormtrooper mask because look what it really is, and then what it looks like from a distance. I'll show you my geeky stuff. Hey. But you can do animations with it.
Mario.
Yeah, not Mario. That's very important.
Mario.
I'm actually proud of this one. I love this guy.
That's good.
The laser beam.
Anyway, it's a really fun tool if you just want to like make some quick animations and or small tile sets.
Also not Mario.
Not Mario. He's trademarked, everybody. Anyone else have questions?
I am curious about the sort of scope of projects that the other members of the Tulsa Game Developers are picking up. Do you have anyone who's like groups of people pushing to get actual commercial products out, or?
Yeah. So Daniel has one project on Steam right now, working on another one with a team that they formed a Global Game Jam. And Ben and Julian have been working on BoogieBot for 3 years, 4 years? 5.
4 or 5.
Yeah. So that we've got a few people. I mean, the good thing is that nowadays it's easier than ever to actually get a game distributed. The bad thing is it's much harder to get it noticed.
I thought you were about to say the good news is it's easier to get a game distributed. The bad news is it's easier to get a game distributed.
Yeah, well, it is. There's a guy who did a talk at GDC Europe a long time ago where he does this, I guess, every time he gives this talk. He asks the crowd, like, so how many people here think that the most important thing is you have to make a really great game? And like anyone who raises their hand, and he just goes, oh, honey. Like it's so much more than that. You can make the best game in the world, but if no one ever sees it, you're kind of at the mercy of like Steam's algorithm or whether or not Apple features your game, unless you're willing to like hoof it and get the word out, or pay a marketing company. That sounds harsh, but it's kind of true. But please keep making games. Any else have questions? Yeah.
Why don't you show the trailer for BoogieBot?
All right, let's do it. Let's hear summary.
And you just go to the page.
Oh yeah, that's good.
pinned. Oh,
Yeah, so this is,
no,
this is,
not on Edge, on the Facebook page.
I'm going to do shit.
They give you
There it is.
from
Right, this is Boogie Bot, which I love because it looks like Schoolhouse Rock.
yeah, that's the trailer.
I just realized how many of you have no idea what Schoolhouse Rock is. Oh, Mike. Kind of like somewhere between Meat Boy and an auto runner. It's like,
Isn't Meat Boy making an auto runner now?
yes, I believe so.
I missed one that bothers me.
I like the slide too.
Yeah, everyone loves the slide. There's a dive roll now. That's on the trailer.
Yeah, that
was
was
really fun.
That was a good. That was a really good decision, I think.
It was always like intended to be in there, but
Boogie down. It's really fun.
yeah, what we're showing tomorrow has been updated a lot. This too. A lot of the stuff that's hard to see is more clear, and particle effects are better.
So, so Ben, I know you guys presented, but you kind of started from the beginning with this, right? Like
Yeah.
learning how to program and learning how to make it do what you wanted to do and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you watch the presentation on the YouTube channel, you can see we show a lot of the like early footage, as early as we have footage of too, and yeah, it took us.
Yeah. Well, like as like a web dev and a budding game developer too. I mean, like half the time, or more than half the time, it's just like I need to do this thing. Let's go to Stack Overflow and see who else did it, so I can figure out how to do it. Game development's the same thing, except unlike web development or app development, there's like 10 million more edge cases like that you have to account for. Because players don't want to do what you want them to do. Yeah.
Just go right, goes left and breaks the game.
Exactly. No, yeah, every time. That's what I do. You kind of came in late. What's your name, man?
Oh, I'm Logan.
Okay, cool. Are you a TU student, or like, what's your interest in game devs?
Yeah, TU student. I'm gonna be a sophomore next semester.
Okay, are you in the computer simulation gaming program, or?
Yes, sir.
Very cool.
Dev option.
Nice. Does anyone else have anything else to do?
On the YouTube, is there do we have a page or something?
Yeah, Tulsa Game Developers
gotcha.
does have a channel with approximately 1,500 people who are waiting for us to put up another Godot video. Which is probably not going to happen.
I think you should do it because that's what people
It's what the people want. Well, it's funny because when I did it, it was literally me copying a tutorial I saw by a guy named Heartbeast, and I say as much in the video. I'm like, and it's in the notes for the video. Like, if you enjoyed this demo, check out Heartbeast because he does a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, well, half the people are arguing because about how you say Godot, but
You mean Godot?
It's Godot.
here's the thing.
I didn't know.
Daniel has the word from the horse's mouth.
Okay, so I went to GDC, they have an official meeting, and they asked the guy, how do you say it? He says, I don't care, call it whatever. So you can call it Godot or Godot, whatever you want to.
Alright.
It was even worse because the guy from Itch is there, and he's like, if I'm doing a presentation, I call it Itch just to make it fast. If I want to sound cool, I say Itch.io if someone knows what I'm doing. And then if I'm telling someone how to get to the website, I say itch.io. So it depends on the context of when you're saying it. That's how you determine itch. Or Itch.io.
Is there a like, small chance anyone in here does not know what itch is?
Yeah.
No idea.
No, okay. So this is Steam's actual biggest competitor.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but they are.
Itch.io is like Steam for the people. Steam for the indie devs anyway.
You can literally put a game on, like if you're just working on a prototype, put it on today for free and just start
So like
putting it
these,
out there.
like all the little tutorials I've done, like I put up on Itch
Oh,
just to have a portfolio. This was a game jam game that I did last year.
As you're working on it.
And you can put them up there for free just so people can see them, or you can charge money for them.
It's all free.
And I think
do it within an
You
hour.
can do a pay what you want
Pay what you
model
want,
too,
yeah.
so people
I
can
think
donate to you.
the percentage is better than Steam, or is it the same?
You can choose.
You can
You can
choose.
set your own.
They have what they recommend. So like they want, like so if you're spending $10, they want $2 to go to Itch and then the other 8 to go to the developers and stuff like that. But if you want to be, hey, I just want to give it all to Itch or all to the developers, they'll do
And
that.
if for those who aren't aware, like Steam, Apple Store, Google Play, like across the board, it's a 30% cut. Whatever you charge, they get 30%.
I was gonna say that the Itch.io site has game jams listed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you're interested in like doing game jams, but there's none in your area, they actually just have a jams section on itch.io with a calendar, and these are all the game jams that are going on right now.
Yeah, you can download.
A lot of them are about, like, they almost all have some kind of theme, right? So, Nostalgic Jam, Stencil Jam. Stencil is a game development program.
Yeah.
There's a Godot Jam. I can't draw but want to make a game. That sounds like a good one.
400 people feel that way.
Yeah. So this is, Game Jolt.
I had mine set up initially, and then it's been like 2 years. I've got a sale on it. I put it for free, and then you can start downloading it.
I know that Adam Miller, who I mentioned before, who made Lost King of the Ozarks, he has a Game Jolt page.
Yeah.
The Game Jolt page is like, it's almost like making a community around your game so that you can connect with people who are interested in your game.
Have you met him? I backed that Kickstarter, but
yeah,
I just assumed he was from around here.
I think he works on Fridays.
Officially
so.
Broken Arrow?
Yeah.
No, he came in, he did a talk about his Kickstarter campaign and kind of what he learned from it. There he is, he's very muscular and handsome.
Brad.
Nice.
Nice.
I would be interested to hear more about a Kickstarter. Anybody's Kickstarter. What
Well, I mean,
their experience
I would
was.
definitely watch it.
Just ask him to watch the video.
Yeah, because he goes over a lot of it, like the advice that he got, because I guess there's some sort of like Kickstarter guru out there who like gives like all the best advice about like the timing for your campaign and what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And granted, his campaign was very small. I think it was $2,000 or something, but
still won.
He made it.
What's Fighters?
No, it's whatever's being highlighted on Game Jolt.
Has anyone made anything that you would put online, even if it's just like a prototype or anything like that? You have? Yeah. So Game Jolt's another free program. You can put stuff out there.
It's just like
Yeah, it's like it. But this is more about building a community around it. So you have like sort of do dev blogs and like update things, and then it's a lot easier to do in there, and like people can build like.
Is there anyone in here who's like working on some game-related project right now? Pretty much everyone. Okay, that's cool. Anyone want to talk about what they're working on? You guys have been giggling back there the whole time. What are you working on?
I've just been trying to learn how to animate so that I can maybe use it for different things. I'd like to do 3D and 2D and just kind of see where it is.
Are you focusing on any particular tool?
I've been using, I bought just some cheap programs. I got the cheapest, what's it called? The art tablet that has an actual display art tablet.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not a Cintiq, it's like an off-brand one, but it's just the cheapest one.
Cintiq or something then?
Yeah, well, it's but I've been using it, and I got Blender as well. I'm trying to learn a little bit about that, and it was rather overwhelming.
Another thing, this is just a resource that some of you guys might not know about. Maybe heard of Humble Bundle before, and then you get a bunch of games for not much money. They also do game dev bundles all the time. And so, like right now, they're doing this 8-bit pixel thing where you can get like all kinds of 2D assets for free. Well, not for free, but like for not much money. Like never animate your own coin ever again.
I got Vegas 14 Pro. I got the full version of Game Maker Studio with all the exporters, which is normally like hundreds of dollars. Sometimes I don't know, it's a fun program. $300 an exporter.
Like Game Maker Studio 2?
No.
Like the new one? Okay.
No, this was a while ago.
Okay, yeah.
Hopefully they'll do another one for
I think they did that right before they released Studio 2 and it made a lot of people mad.
It's a few months at least.
But yeah, so like check out Humble Bundle, or if you're not already, you can sign up and you'll get emails when they do bundles like this. And sometimes they'll also do things where they have software included, and usually it's like second tier graphic design software that maybe you haven't heard of before that's like competing with something like Photoshop, but you can get it for $15 versus like the really high monthly rate for like the Adobe Suite. They'll also release every once in a while stuff like video editing software, stuff like that. So like you don't want to cough up for Adobe Premiere, but you need to make a trailer for your game, you can
Actually, hit bundles real fast.
yeah. Are they doing one right now?
Well, I was just seeing if they have. Okay, so like, yeah, hit the Microsoft one. So this is a bunch of books. So for $1, you get C#7, if anyone's learning C#, I guess. And then they build from there.
Yeah.
But they'll do, they have a Unity one, I think. So if you guys use Unity, a lot of people do. They have like, oh, here's a bunch of different Unity books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of books for $20,
I also had one with just a bunch of Unity asset store stuff.
Did they?
Yeah, it had like Gaia and some audio packs and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Every once in a while, if it's on battery power, my computer just shuts down.
They also do ones where they'll be like Unity's games, so it's like games made with Unity.
Oh, yeah.
And then for like $20, you get like 8 games.
Yeah.
Those are fun because you get to play.
Yeah, that was the pay more on that one. I think you got Oxenfree.
Yeah, that game's amazing. I know I'm an Unreal dev, but I love that one. Did you? Sorry.
I didn't beat it. I more just watched some videos on it, but it's a really cool project.
Yeah, probably.
I went to a talk about how they ported it to Switch at Unite last year, and that was really cool. Oxenfree team.
Unite?
Yeah, that's Unity's Game Developer Conference.
That makes more sense.
So, we've probably gone through enough. Just the important details, if you've never been to a game devs meeting, is it's every second Thursday at 36 degrees north.
You go to GDC.
Which you Google it, you'll find it.
At what time?
It's from 6 to 8, generally. And the best way to keep track of it
and then you can go down there and literally put it on the dev team.
Is to head over to meetup.com and just, I have no internet, search for Tulsa Game Developers, and they'll come up. I've got some flyers too. And we do Global Game Jam in January's, along with TU. We try to do a summit with people from like developers from around the region in like October, September, and fall. And we're working on setting up another game jam in summer. Oh, one more thing. I was given some door prizes.
Hey!
Yeah. So who wants to answer a trivia question? Anybody?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Can you tell me, in the game Donkey Kong, what Mario's name was?
Donkey Kong.
Hey!
Oh.
Oh.
No, I didn't know that.
Nicely done.
That was quick.
Gotta get buzzers.
I don't want a door prize, but I want a trivia question.
Oh, I'd have to actually think of one. That was the only one I could think of off the top of my head.
Where do you go to find the Unreal Meetup group?
Nowhere, because it doesn't exist. Right?
No.
Unreal.
Meetup. Oh, no, not Unreal. I'm sorry. Where do you go to find the game dev meetup group?
Yeah.
I run the Unreal
Yeah,
one, so
yeah.
it's ingrained in me to say Unreal over everything.
Dude, that's unreal.
Yeah, I know, right?
Let me see. I think of another question.
Dude, it came up with the game board.
Oh, I know that one too. I want to be mean. Life, I got a question for you. What game is, like, what's the most popular game right now? What's everybody playing?
Ooh, Kingdom Hearts?
I'll take it, sure!
Judges?
I agree, because that's what I'm
Were you gonna say Fortnite?
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah.
I agree out of
Some
wishful
complained
thinking.
about that.
Yeah.
Complain.
Who's trying to play Fortnite and can't get anything to happen? Just no idea what's going on.
That's me.
And all his friends play it.
Yeah.
Just a side question. Have you ever heard of the A-Sprite software?
Oh, yeah. I've got a demo of it. Alright, let's see now.
Did you pass that first?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, A-Sprite is another pretty popular pixel art editing tool as well. And I don't think it costs too much.
It's $15.
$15, yeah.
And if you buy it on the website, you get the downloadings.
Yeah, and you can get the trial version, which actually lets you try out every feature of the software. You just can't save anything.
You get it through Humble Bundle, it does give you the DRM-free version that you can distribute.
Oh, that's good.
So,
hold on, I had one, yeah, because we were talking about that. Tulsa Game Developers. So the first year that we did Global Game Jam, we had a father and son show up and work as a team. And he grabbed a Sprite, and so this is a Sprite, and he made this cat with a jet engine coming out of his butt. Yeah.
This is Mr. Mayfield. He's
Is this our banner now?
of animation. TCC.
No, this is our banner. It used to have a little alien standing on top of it. But although someone did point out to me that our logo is a cliff, and maybe that's not the best, like, most hopeful thing.
It's a peak.
But I made it because we didn't have one. And I wanted to work with tiling. And I think I did a pretty good job of it.
Your cliff looks very
Class
nice.
on tiling.
Huh?
I would be nice if it's like a class on tiling.
Tiling is its own thing. It's,
that's
yeah.
difficult.
Is there any other last questions? Anybody? Yeah.
Whenever you were talking about itch.io, you mentioned one that was called Game something.
Game Jolt.
Game Jolt.
So,
Thank you.
I would say itch is probably more popular. I think more people are using it, and it's like indie devs like it a lot. I mean, you can't really get away from the major distribution platforms entirely, but some people try.
There's also Congregate, K.
Oh yeah, Congregate, yeah. That's been around forever.
Yeah, people like it.
What's the file size limit? Is there a file size limit?
Well, they're usually WebGL projects.
Oh, okay.
And on itch, I don't know that there is a. There might be.
I want to upload something that's probably like 3 or 4 gigabytes.
I do know that like major releases, like indie game releases, I mean, you can still get them on itch.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bet the limit's like something in the form of 2 gigabytes, or
Yeah.
that'd be my guess.
I hope not.
Guys, well, thank you so much for showing up. Please, if you're interested in coming to a meeting, and I hope you are, like, everyone's welcome. There's no pressure. It's just we want people to know that there's a game development community here. The very first time we did this in January of 2016, every single person who showed up said, like, I thought I was the only one. And so that's what we are trying to.
I think we got another question.
Oh yeah.
Not me though.